Good morning, everyone. My name is Josh, and of course, this is the Skype for Business recap, your end of the week 15-minute roundup of what's new in the Skype for Business community out there. Most of what I'm presenting here is largely available and splashed around on the relevant communities on Twitter and LinkedIn. And so, for those of you that are really active there, you might recognize some of the data, and in that case, you get my spin on it. That's the premise of the show here. It's been a pretty busy week for me personally at work and everything. There's been a lot going on there, but also within the community, there's some cool shows that are also taking place this week. The Skype show had episode 5. Mark Vale presented on there as the host, and he had Adam Jacobs from Polycom on. It's a good guest and a good round to have, especially in light of the recent Mitel Polycom announcements. The Skype for Business broadcast, I believe, is happening today too. I'm not sure if it's Jamie Stark leading that up or if it's Sean Wilson's turn, but that should be live here momentarily, actually. So you can either catch that soon or else watch the playback. Now, on the Skype show, the playback is available on their website as well. But also should be available on Channel 9 really quickly here. Good week for shows. There haven't been as many huge announcements this week throughout the community, but there are still a few things I want to touch on. And then the first thing, which as you can see, I'm kind of doing some shameless self-promotion here. The Skype for Business Hybrid Handbook version 2.0, authored by yours truly. I published that at the over the weekend. I think Sunday night is when May 1st. I put that out there. So that's the first item I want to talk about today before diving into the rest. So before I get into that, let me move over to our Infinity screen. All right. And then we're going to pull up the browser here. All right. Excellent. So this is, of course, my blog with the beautiful rustic wood paneling on the back. My latest blog post is on the publishing of version 2.0 of my hybrid handbook. I put this out on December 1st of last year, right in line with Cloud PBX going GA and E5 licensing going GA. A lot of big announcements at that time, so it was a perfect time to get a hybrid handbook out there. And I did that. And then recently I have gone and, earlier this year I went and put an update out there, version 1.2. There was a few corrections and some cleanup that I did. And then with version 2.0, it was just time for a whole new version because there were some big changes in Office 365 and in the way hybrid is looked at or the options available. Those of you that are at all involved in Office 365 know that it is a constantly changing environment. So keeping on top of those changes is a challenge in and of itself. But when you have big developments happen, it's time to cover them, even though they may change next week. The big things that kind of spurred on version 2.0 was the fact that Azure AD Connect 1.1 went into GA. And this was very much the same as the previous version of Azure AD Connect, but there were some differences in how it was set up, some different options available, and those options and changes did show up in screenshots. Not to mention the Office 365 admin portal has a new preview GUI, which is a little more slick, and I like it in my opinion. So I demonstrated both the classic version versus the preview version in the book, as well as all new screenshots for the Azure AD Connect pieces so that we can see 1.1 in action as well as what's different with 1.1. So that was one big change. I kind of overhauled Chapter 6 for that. The other deal was Cloud Connector Edition. When I did my first version of the book, this was still being called Min Topology. There was still a lot of speculation going around about it. It was not close to GA yet. And now, in the last little few weeks here, it is GA. And there's new TechNet documentation, lots of content being put out on the web about this. So I wanted to make sure I added a new chapter into the book, chapter 13, which is actually a pretty lengthy chapter, and discuss some options, planning, and deployment scenarios in the book for Cloud Connector Edition. It is, after all, a very prominent hybrid option. So that's what's new in the book as well. And I have a link here to the gallery. The gallery is going to include, the download link. It's a free PDF, and so we'll go take a look at that now, actually. Okay, here we are on the gallery. We can see here it is, our PDF, Skype for Business Hybrid Handbook 2.0 PDF format, and brief description here of the download with this little blurb that I need to correct with the date on. It should be 2016, but I just call out the things that I updated here, or at least the high-level things. There was a number of grammar corrections that I went through and did as well. But yes, I appreciate all the support, by the way, for those of you that have already taken to the gallery and downloaded it. For those of you that have been so kind as to leave some ratings here, you're giving me some love on the ratings, and I appreciate that. If you have downloaded this and read through it and care to throw in a rating out there, please take a few seconds to log into TechNet and just throw up however many stars you think the handbook is worthy of, and I do appreciate that, and any feedback as well, of course. Yeah, I was all excited because I thought, hey, I'm on the verge of 5,000 downloads, and for whatever reason, I was under the impression that 5,000 downloads was a threshold where you were a new achievement. You got so much more points in TechNet or something. Apparently, I'm halfway to the next step up. There's a 1,000 download threshold and a 10,000 download threshold. So I'm gonna cool my jets. It'll be a while before we reach 10,000 if we do. Yeah, that's always a humbling thing to see there. So at any rate, that's where it is. Thank you for all the support up till now, and for those of you that are able to go out there and grab your copy if you haven't yet, see what's new, share it if you like it, and please rate it. So, good stuff. Moving on, I wanted to talk a little bit about this quality of service calculator by Pat Richard, who is a Office Servers and Services MVP. This is his blog here, Hello World. And this post is actually from November of 2014. But why I'm talking about it now is that if we go look at our downloads, version 1.3 was released very recently, last week actually, and that is introduces several new changes there. There is a blog here that has the change log for what is included in this newer version, so you can check that out as well. Of course, I'm going to include a link to this in the YouTube video description so that you can check all this out on your own. This is a really handy tool. As he calls out up here, it just makes life so much easier when planning out your network, the relevant GPOs for your Link or Skype for Business deployment, and the overall config. And as he calls out down here, there is no installation here. You're just opening up an Excel file that has been geared to really take a whole bunch of input from you and give you a bunch of feedback about what you need and your GPOs, recommendations for the network, etc. And he gives kind of a few screenshots of what it looks like, breaks down what the actual behavior of the Excel file is here, which parts are editable, which parts give you your feedback. And this just prepares you for what your GPO should look like, gives you some recommendations, and makes life a lot easier when planning out a deployment. So great tool, no installation required, very easily accessible Excel file. And as you can see, there has been version after version. He has kept this nicely updated over the course of time. And so, yes, great contribution. Thank you very much, Pat, for putting this out there for us. And if you guys have a chance to check it out, please do. Great tool. All right, moving on. We've got the UC Architects have made a return here. We had episode 57 that I guess was published on the 23rd of April, but we actually had the announcement put all over Twitter this last week. And so if you have a chance, please visit their site and listen to the latest podcast. We had Pat Richard again. Pat's been active here. Pat, again, Office Servers and Services MVP. He was our host. Two more MVPs, Steve Goodman and Tom Arbuthnot, were the co-hosts, and they all made for good, lively discussion. And then we had Andrew Price, another MVP, as editor on the show. Runs about an hour and 16 minutes. Has some very cool, triumphant sounding entry music as you start listening. So that's at the beginning. And then as we go through here, we see that they don't just focus on Link and Skype for Business. They truly go UC, they talk about all the various high-level topics on the Microsoft realm anyway that encompass UC. So we've got Exchange topics, we've got Office 365, and then of course we dive into our link and Skype for Business. And like you can see, the number of topics here are focused quite a bit more on the link and Skype for Business side of things, but also the relevant UC pieces from Exchange and Office 365. So yeah, I listened in. A great show. These guys have a very intelligent and easy to listen to flow to their conversation. They jump into each of these topics and go back and forth and really kind of give their takes and dive into some of the technical specifics. Really good format. So be sure to check out episode 57 of their podcast. I'm looking forward to 58. So thank you guys, all of you, for putting that out there for us. Lastly, Andrew Price, the name I just mentioned as an editor, he put his blog post updated here and let us know that he noticed the Skype for Business mobile app on the Windows Phone was updated to version 6.1. So for the 2 or 3 of us out there that actually are Windows Phone fans and have the Skype for Business app, time to update it. Doesn't look like a major update like he calls out here. There's some bug fixes, and this doesn't dive into what those bug fixes are. Potentially the App Store might have more information on that. I'm not sure. But hey, if you're having any buggy behavior on your Skype for Business app on the Windows Phone, update it, and maybe we can get past that. All right. So yeah, that's the last bit I had here. Thanks for sharing, Andrew. Very good information, and I've got a Windows Phone for work. Actually, I'll be jumping on and updating mine and seeing if I can find out any more information about what's new. But we appreciate you sharing it. All right, that's it. That's it for the content that I wanted to jump into today. Back to the infinity screen and back to my main camera. All right, good stuff here. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. I feel completely scrambled this morning. It's been a long week of very long hours, and one giant cup of coffee just is not nearly enough this morning. I'm going to have to hit it hard to get through the rest of the day in an intelligent, thoughtful manner. I feel like I've just kind of rambled on through all these different categories, and I hope it all came out making sense. And that I didn't spend too much time dwelling on my own self-promotion plug. But again, I want to thank those of you. You guys have been super supportive in your retweets and downloading and sharing and good feedback on what people's thoughts were on the actual book itself, on the handbook. So for the rest of you that maybe weren't sure of it or didn't know and you're just now seeing it, if you had the previous version of the book, you'll definitely want the newer version, more relevant, newer information, and of course Cloud Connector Edition, hot topic right now. So jump in and let me know what you think. Thank you for taking time to watch this morning. I hope you guys have a great weekend once again, and I hope that I will see you back here next Friday, and that you'll have productive weeks in the meantime. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day, and adios.